Dick here. I'm on Shakedown's 1997 Yamaha Diversion 900. Shakedown and I have signed up for our next adventure, which happens to be a charity event called the Longest Day Up Challenge, LDU 22. The LDU Challenge, also known as the Longest Day Challenge, is when participants ride low-cost motorcycles from end to end in the UK, either from traditionally John O'Groats to Land's End, and more recently from Land's End to John O'Groats. Every year before this year, you had to ride on a bike that was 300 pounds or less, not including tires and brakes. While this year the budget was increased to 600 pounds, which I'll tell you is not a lot of money to get a serviceable MOT'd or potentially MOT'd motorcycle to run 1,000 miles in one day. That's the other part of it. Not only do you have to run from end to end on the UK, you have to do it in less than 24 hours. So you're riding 1,000 miles in less than 24 hours on bikes that are probably not fit to ride across town. And this is the bike that's not fit to ride across town that Shakedown's taking. The route for the LDU is not released until closer to the event, but there are rumors that it avoids motorways to make it more interesting, and I guess to stretch it to the 1,000 mile mark. Looking at it with motorways, the fastest route I think is between 800 and 850 miles, I think, just off the top of my head. But there's something very there's something very heroic about 1,000 mile mark. So testing it on the motorway for some speed, I think A and B roads are probably the flavor of the day for that long day. So the Longest Day Challenge benefits Cancer Research UK. Participants are encouraged to try and raise as much money for that charity as possible. Of all of the people that I have known personally that have been close to me who have died, half of those people have died of cancer. And with most people who have passed from cancer, it was not a peaceful passing for any of them. Most recently, I lost my aunt in October. A year before that, we lost Fanny's aunt and uncle. Before that, we lost my father's brother when he was still in his 50s. Half of my grandparents have passed, and half of Fanny's grandparents have passed with cancer. Two of our neighbors this year on our road in London have passed away of cancer. And there's a chilling statistic that 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime. There is not one person who is unaffected by cancer. And I am terrible at raising money for charities. When I ran the 2013 London Marathon, that was a really nice turn. I really liked that curve. I was able to dip this bike very, very low in that curve. However, when I ran the 2013 London Marathon, I was charged with raising 2,000 pounds for my space that I was granted by the charity I was running for. And despite lots of personal incentives that I had given to friends and families and colleagues, I ended up having to write a check. A very hefty check to cover my delta. And since then, whenever I've been asked to raise money for charity, I've done it in a very passive way. And with this video, I will do it passively as well. Because a lot of people participate in charity events and they're given incentives. If you raise this much, you get this prize. If you raise this much, you get this prize. And there are leaderboards to charities, and it's kind of encouraging a bit of competition to see who can raise the most money, which ultimately is a benefit to the charity. But I find it very discouraging. And what I say is, If you choose to sponsor me or Shakedown, as we're raising jointly, you can go to the link in the description of this video and feel free to drop a couple of bob on our donation page. If you don't want to donate to us directly through our page, then go to the Cancer UK website and donate directly. And if Cancer UK is not a charity you want to donate to, then consider a charitable donation or some volunteering time, or show some generosity towards others in the spirit of Shakedown and my ride across 1,000 miles between Land's End and John O'Groats. But I do encourage you to contribute to this cause. It's been going on for 10 years. And in the past, I think maximum there were about 10 or 20 participants. And this year, due to the growing popularity and the draw of such an adventure, there are 42 participants. So hopefully there'll be some good money raised by the participants. There's a WhatsApp group for the participants of the Longest Day Challenge. And it's a good thing that there's a WhatsApp group, because some people hadn't even acquired a bike prior to signing up for the challenge. I know we acquired Shakedown's bike after we had secured a space, because there was a bit of a lottery, because more people were interested in doing it than there was reasonable space for participants. Although I was looking for an MOT'd running bike, as close to budget as possible, trying to allow for some service items or consumables to be spent on it in addition. There are some people who still have not acquired a bike, and there are some people who have acquired a bike that is just bits and boxes. And there are some experienced mechanics on the group, and there are some very inexperienced mechanics on the group, me being one of them. And it's funny, the percentage of inexperienced mechanics who have boxes of bits to put together. But everyone has been very generous, and from the off, everyone has been very involved in the participation, and everyone has been very friendly and generous with their time. So much so that I felt, in reading the messages being put on the group, that everyone already knew each other. And I was a bit put off. I was a bit hesitant to participate, because everyone seemed very familiar and everyone seemed to know each other already. And I came out and I asked point blank, I said, am I the only one who's doing this alone, or just with one other friend? And it turns out that virtually nobody knows each other on this group. There's a couple of people like me who've joined with a friend, but virtually no one knows each other. And from the first moment, there is a camaraderie. There's a camaraderie to the participation in this challenge. So much so that people are volunteering to travel considerable distances to help people out with mechanical issues, pointing out parts that are available, alternatives to headlamps, Miata. It's been very encouraging. Encouraging in most respects, but discouraging in some respects, because I feel a bit behind the 8 ball with my own ride, which is my Transalp. My Transalp has been resurrected for this ride, for this challenge. As many of you may know, the frame was rusted out to the point where the bike should have been scrapped. And but for the, again, generosity of the local blacksmith in my village in Wales. Oh, look at those red kites mating. I don't know if I caught it on camera, but there were 2 red kites on a mating ritual above me. Anyway, but for the generosity of my blacksmith friend in the village, in my village in Wales, that bike would have been scrapped. And so that bike is now in the process of being resurrected and hopefully successfully MOT'd for the challenge. And if not, Shakedown and I will be going pillion on this thing, nuts to butts. Thinking about some of the strategy of the longest day challenge, again in support of the charity Cancer Research UK, and if you're so inclined, give a little link in. Whoa, look at that McLaren, holy shit. Thinking about the strategy of the longest day over 1,000 miles, some of the participants were discussing the possibility of riding one another's bikes. Every 2 hours switching the bike to switch the geometry, take the pressure off of the pressure points over the hours. I'm not adverse to that idea, considering the weight I'm feeling on my ass here. I'm going to be doing a series of videos chronicling our preparation for the event, trying to encourage you, my lovely viewers, to drop a couple of quid towards the charity and to chronicle the heroic efforts of the other participants. And then we'll do a series of videos, as it will be over 24 hours, and a couple of live videos on the day of the event on June 21st. I'll put a link in the description pointing you towards the charity website, towards any information I have on the event, and of course Shakedown's and my charity page. If you are watching this and you are a participant, feel free to message in the comments and tell some of my viewers what are some of the challenges you're facing in your own preparation. After spending 4 days consecutively, 9 to 11 hour days on the back of a modern motorcycle, a more contemporary motorcycle, an up-to-date younger motorcycle, I can tell you that no matter what bike you're on, 24 hours is a long time. And we will need all of the preparation and encouragement and help that we can muster.
If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.